And welcome, welcome. I kind of missed updating the feed, so we're about a week behind, but that's okay. Yay, overtime. It's that magical time of the year. I'm Thomas, and Shaggy is with me.
Hey,
Curtis, I'm assuming is busy this week, so he can chime in if he want. He can join in if he wants to, and notices we're here or something like that. But I figured I'd make it kind of a tradition each year to kind of, relay any interesting stories from we have from the perspective of retail, because we both work in retail for Black Friday and the holiday shopping season, because things kind of get interesting during that time of the year. It's calmed down over recent years, but some weird stuff still happens. So, um, why don't we start with you, since you went in earlier, so you were there for more of the sales, and that's when most of the action happened.
yeah, that is when most of the action happened. I mean, I don't remember many things in particular that were necessarily crazy. I do. It was pre-packed this year. It was probably just about as packed as it was last year. I wasn't hardly out on the floor this year, but uh, one of the things I did get to experience was I'm not sure exactly what happened, but we had a customer who was in the subway of our Walmart here in Warrensburg, uh, either choked or passed out. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but I did walk by. I was walking up to the front of the store where the subway is at, and they were pulling him out on a stretcher and a cart, pulling him out of the door and then loading him up into an ambulance. I do not know the details. I just know that something happened in the subway.
I heard rumors of like they passed out or something, and
That's
um,
exactly what I heard. The only part I saw was what I said about them pulling him out, and I didn't even get to see what the person looked like in the stretcher. I was too far away. I had too many objects in my field of view, so I'm not sure exactly what happened. But yeah, it did happen.
and so it wasn't over merchandise. It just kind of circumstances itself, and that was it. At least it wasn't what happened that the next morning. I'm building a display, getting stuff ready for the 6 a.m. portion of things. When a customer walks in, says you might want to let a manager know somebody left a deer carcass in a shopping cart, and they did their best to describe where it was. Asked the manager if I should, confirm that. Well, I would. So I went outside, and sure enough, in row four in the parking lot, carcass that had been stripped. The bones, the legs, and the head were, were left in there. Um, so I'm like, oh, I'm thinking to myself, oh, that's just great. That's fantastic. And I also doubt that it's very, very legal. So I walked back in. Yes, basically said, yep, there was one, and managers went out to check it. A couple more managers went to check it out, and who's called up on the floor crew to deal with it? Well, good old Daryl, who's a country boy who, to him, that stuff is no big deal, whereas others make it a little bit squeamish at it. He simply tossed the thing over the fence, took the cart inside, and I think he probably took it to the produce area and simply hosed it off to get any blood off of it. So, um, I'm like thinking to myself, well, I don't think this is not what I had in mind when it said Black Friday special. So, don't know if it was some ritual sacrifice, whether somebody was really, really lazy and didn't want to properly dispose of a carcass, or they just didn't have the proper tag and didn't want to get caught. I'm like, you people realize there are cameras above in the parking lot, right?
I don't think people do all realize some of that stuff. Especially, like, I mean, we're in a semi-rural area being here working in Warrensburg. Warrensburg's not a very large town. Compared to where I was from, yeah, it's huge, but when you compare it to outlying areas like Sedalia is a little bit bigger, and then if you go north about 40 minutes, you got Lee Summit and the greater Kansas City area. That's a city. This is
Yeah.
podunk, hometown, country boy area. And
Although
we have
that's
plenty of associates like Daryl who just, no problem. Yeah, I'll just toss that over the fence.
and the guy lives like 13 miles south, so uh, um, not that big of a deal. Other people were getting squeamish a little bit, and understandably so. That's me. I'm thinking that's just uncalled for. Why would you do that? Hey, at least dump it in the woods. Not that I'm saying that that's okay to do it in the first place, but at least to where other people aren't going to see it, and nature will be able to work its magic and decompose the thing, and nobody else gets sick from it. But it was just one of those strange things, like, oh, that's weird, and everything else. So, although this down, they didn't do like like in the past where everything starts at midnight and everybody's cramming in and you're stuck on a register for 3 hours straight, and before you get to go to your first 15-minute break, you're sent to lunch. Yeah, that happened to me. or having a family who accuse you of wrongdoing just because their bank account is saying, hey, a lot of money is being spent, we'd rather not let this check go through. So yeah, and a lot of and here's a pro tip for those who are shopping during special times of the year. Go to your bank and tell them, hey, I'm going to spend a massive ton of money on this day and on this day, and they'll do what's necessary to prevent any locks from your account. That's there to protect from identity theft. So that I'm glad I haven't dealt with that ever since. So, are there any other weird things you've dealt with in past years or anything like that?
Not necessarily. As general observation, last year I got the opportunity to be on the floor. I had to run a queue line. And brief explanation: Walmart changed their entire system of how they handle Black Friday just last year. And last year was the first year I got to experience Black Friday, so I didn't get to be involved in all the vacuums hitting me in the face, TVs being thrown at people. No, I didn't get to see any of that fun stuff, unfortunately. I kind of wish I would have. I did have a coworker that did get hit in the face with a vacuum, though. It was the previous year to when I did it. But Walmart changed their entire system and how they handle things, so we have like lines. It's almost like you're in prison and you're so controlled now. It's crazy, and that has helped reduce a lot of accidents and all kinds of other things that have happened in the past. People being trampled over, all kinds of stuff like that. But as a general observation, I do want to say, and I'm not pointing anybody out in particular, but I just want to say that people are dumb because you can see all kinds, especially out on the floor, when you're out on the floor like that running a queue line, people will push and shove, and it doesn't matter whether it's a kid, an 80-year-old elderly woman, or just an average human being. They disregard anything to do with life and are going after a material object. Personally, I don't get it. I will probably never go shopping on Black Friday, and I don't like it, but that's just my general observation. Now this year it was a little bit different for me because normally on a Black Friday, with the way Walmart handles it, is we don't get freight in on Black Friday, and part of my job is to handle the incoming freight. I'm in the receiving area, and we unload the truck. This year we had a truck on the day that we're not supposed to have a truck, when our inventory system is basically crumpled. So we had to unload a small 800-piece truck, which was apparently left over from the night before because they were freaking out about getting everybody to prepare for Black Friday. And the store manager's idea was to, regardless of what the item was, as long as it didn't have like a specific date, like video games, DVDs, and stuff like that don't launch until a specific set date, he wanted everything that they possibly could pack out on the floor. So he was having us pull not only the Blitz merchandise, which is our Black Friday merchandise, out to the floor, but also any other features or giant large quantities of things that have already been unboxed and prepared for a sales floor. The sales floor. He just had us pull it all out, pull everything out, and while we're doing this, we keep seeing the stuff that we're pulling out that isn't Black Friday stuff coming back. So that was a giant waste of time for us. So I think it was crazier for the management of our store than it was for the customers coming in.
All right. The attempt being that if you can at least get it out, it may actually sell on that day, except there was no place to put it. So
yeah, I don't think it was necessarily that. We ended up having plenty of room, except people kept shoving it back because one, it was not Black Friday merchandise, and two, when we were bringing it out, even if there was room, there were other associates. I will not say any names or anything like that, but one of them happened to be my previous inventory supervisor, who I still don't get along with very well, telling me to take it back even though there was nothing out on the floor in the area that she was at. I'm like, sorry, can't do that, so I dropped it anyway and just kept doing my job like I'm supposed to. So it was a combination of just miscommunication and running out of room. It was a combination of both.
Right. So that was a hassle.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so I missed the shoving and any conflicts with people because I came in at like 10, and we got our normal maintenance stuff done because there were so many registers open and everything else, and you know, on the outset it looked slow, but it was more spread out. Honestly, I think there should have been a sale at midnight, a little bit of a sale at midnight too, to kind of drum up just enough interest to keep enough flow to keep enough sales going. But that's just me, because it kind of just died way down after all of that, and it kind of petered out. And so people are now saying, "Oh, Black Friday sales are down." Well, sort of. It just got moved to the day before. It's really what happened, and other places are doing a lot of stuff earlier now. It's getting earlier and earlier now, and times are kind of changing and that sort of thing. So it's not as crammed as it used to be now. It's kind of spread out. But these things kind of also bring out interesting people this time of the year because it's the kickoff of the holiday shopping season. Now you're going to have people who come out grumpy and grouchy to an extent for one reason or another. It may not be over holiday shopping, but over stupid things like selling a pack of cigarettes, which is what happened to me. So, lady comes up, asks me to check the amount on a gift card. And I was able to do that. It had some money on there. She asks for some cigarettes. I asked for some ID. It was Doral Reds 100s and Doral Menthol 100s, if memory serves correct. And no, it's Decades, I think. It was one red tall ones and one menthol tall ones. My status should my status on my own Facebook thing should should be the accurate one of what it was. So she has no ID. I can't sell her the cigarettes. I see her walking with a gentleman. He comes to me. I see a gift card that looks very, very surprisingly similar or exactly like the one she had in her hand. He orders the exact same one. I said, I am sorry, because you were walking with that other person, and I denied her. I can't sell them to you because it was... And he was like, but she's my old lady. And he, was like, he walked away and said, I'll come back with my ID and I'll shove it up your ass. I'm like, sorry, my job's on the line, dude. He's like, quit that. And he comes back later. Apparently, he went all the way to DD just to get his ID. And between that and coming back here, he ran out of gas, just for cigarettes, by the way. And fortunately, a shift manager backed me up on this and said, he can lose his job over this, and explaining that, she's my old lady. And I'm like thinking to myself, okay, you said she's 27. You're clearly much older than she is, yet you're calling her your old lady. If I were in her position, I'd frankly be insulted by this, calling her old in the first place. And secondly, manager looked at me afterwards and said, I would have denied the sale anyway because his ID was torn up anyhow. It was in such rough shape. So I'm like, so all of a sudden, one of my friends created a little rap song for me out of the blue, which was awesome. Oh. Don't you miss cashiering?
I'm gonna be honest. When I was a cashier for about 3 months. One of the first days, I never had many problems as a cashier. I denied probably only like 2 or 3 sales, and one of the ones that I almost was going to deny, only because his card wasn't working. This guy gave me his card, and it was my second day on the job being trained as a cashier, so I'm still trying to get used to some things, and I didn't know how he tried swiping his card, and it wouldn't work. And I was clear on the GM side of the store, and at the time, we had the old registers that we had, so the card readers were in pretty bad shape, regardless of where you were at, and this guy's card was in bad shape, and so he swipes it, and he's starting to get frustrated because it's not working. So I'm like, here, let me try. I'll do this for you. So I'm swiping it. I'm not getting it to work. I can't read his card to get the number off of his card, so he starts screaming at me. He's like, you should lose your job over this, and then blah, 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 blah. And the person who is training me is standing next to me, and she pipes up, and she was a very strong woman. She wasn't very tall. I guess that just goes to show that the dynamite comes in small packages. But anyway, she piped up for me, and I swear she ripped him a new one. It was hilarious. And he's just like, okay, fine. We finally got the transaction to go through, and he went on about his merry little way.
Wow.
It's not an uncommon thing for a cashier, especially in Walmart, for a cashier to come across a customer who's just mad at the world that day and wants to take it out on you.
Yeah, and one person kept trying to run his card for some stuff he was buying, some phone cards for prepaid phone plans, among other things. And what had happened is it kept saying debit not available. Now the problem is, it doesn't exactly specify a reason why. It'll give you some code number, but that's as far as it goes. There is no documentation that we know of that explains what all those things mean. Well, it was a small hometown bank, and they were shut down for maintenance, meaning nobody's accounts was available for use at all. The assumption being made that nobody's going to be buying anything at 2 to 3 in the morning with any of their accounts. One that is kind of false at this point, and they need to kind of update accordingly, but they don't. Even one of the institutions I use lets you use your account at 3 in the morning. They're not going to be able to give you balance information until, till the sun comes up, basically. But sometimes they'll try to. You must be doing something wrong. Well, if it was a card read error, it would tell me, hey, we couldn't read your card. It was something else was going on. And those things can either be a communication error, which those do happen from time every once in a blue moon, where data gets lost in attempted transmission and there's a timeout error, or just something messes up and we can't do anything about it. So now it's all this is starting to trickle in, and people start getting weird or even more idiotic than they are on Black Friday in the worst of years. It's just like, what do you do, right? So are you looking forward to the holiday season, especially the day before where everybody goes crazy?
I'm looking forward to a break because right now I'm in the last week of the semester, and next week I've got finals week, so that's gonna be fun, not, but this week for those of us that worked at Walmart on Black Friday, you get a voucher for basically, since you weren't able to come in and shop that day, you get a voucher for like 25% off or something like that for, I think it's one purchase this year, just like they did it last year. So as I mentioned a while back, I have a PS4 on layaway, so I'll be paying that off this week in 2 days exactly. And
right.
So that's what I'm going to be enjoying over the break. It's probably screwing around with my PS4, playing some new games and stuff like that. Might even be able to do a tiny review of the console. I don't know. We'll figure that out. But
That'd be cool.
I'm excited for that.
Well, I have some things in mind to do this Thursday. I just got to get stuff on a list and get started on it. So, and that will give me a good jump start on everything. Because unless something cocks up this year, which they've had to I think last year they extended it because of extraneous weather preventing people from making it to the store in the first place. So we'll see if things go smoothly this year, or if there's going to be some major cock up and people accidentally use their cards when they don't use their discount when they're supposed to save it for when they're supposed to, or if something just messes up and people have to manually pull out a piece of paper and a calculator and a pen and do some arithmetic, which is even more fun. So, and we'll see who has the biggest shopping spree. I have my bet who's going to have the biggest shopping spree, but I'll leave it at that. So here's to the holiday season. It's only going to get stranger and weirder, especially in this part of the country. Though I'm sure there's other horror stories across the nation. And if you want to keep track, if you're that morbid, of accidents and deaths on Black Friday, there's a website called Black Friday Death Count. So check it out and feel free to have a happy holiday season no matter what you're doing. So peace out.